I'm Steven Leake. Today I'm going to read from my poetry collection, Light Through the Pines. Published in 2022 by Monarch Literary Limited, my publishing company. I started it to put out my stuff, and eventually got around to publishing my friend's stuff, and then started accepting open submissions. If you're a writer or poet and you take artistic risks and advocate for free speech and critical thinking, submit your stuff to submissions at monarchliterary.com. I read manuscripts year round, so send me your stuff. I'll be glad to read it. If you're honest and fearless in your art, I'm going to publish you. I'm all about developing overlooked talent, and I'll work with you, so give it a shot. You got nothing to lose. Send me your work. I wrote this during the pandemic. At the same time, I wrote the bulk of Gethsemane, the novel I'm still editing right now. This Light Through the Pines is dedicated to Allison, whose last name will have to go unmentioned. She doesn't speak to me anymore, which is kind of typical of my relationships I suck at. I develop very intense, intimate bonds with people, and then after a while, shit happens for some reason, and they never speak to me again. It's just kind of my deal, and I've kind of learned to live with it. It's not something I can help, and I'm working on it the best I can. But, the bonds we make with people in this life are all that matters to me, I think. The way you treat your fellow human beings, it's all that matters, Regardless of what your political beliefs are, your religious beliefs, respect for human life, for people's feelings, showing respect and dignity for other individuals is all we really have, and is like the only weapon we have to fight against this incessant shit that we have to face in the world. It's just constant negativity with this political polarization we're seeing, and try to be kinder to each other. If I could give everyone one piece of advice: calm the fuck down, stop flinging shit on the internet, unplug for a little while, reconnect with your friends and family, cut your phone off for a minute, go outside and breathe air. Be creative, learn the guitar, have more sex. It's life is great. And we've been blinded by this technology and this social media shit, blinded to it. And it can be so fulfilling and an adventure. And if you're open to the adventure that life can be, it's infinitely rewarding. Not everybody can do what I do just because they have families and real jobs and shit. And I'm kind of been blessed to have a family that provides me a place to rock out with my cock out and jam and write music and write books and hang out with people and discuss politics and religion and all this stuff, and host a podcast and pursue my creative endeavors. They get on me that I do it too much. That's all I ever think about or talk about or do. That I'm having so much fun. And I've always been of the opinion, if you're having fun doing something and you can express that, other people are going to have fun watching you or engaging with you. And I've always thought, if I have fun playing a guitar part, it's going to be fun to listen to, and that's the name of the game for me. Shit should be enjoyable. Life is too damn hard as it is for us to get nitpicky about art and shit. If you like it, enjoy it. Who gives a fuck, right? If you don't, no big deal. No, it's not gonna hurt my feelings if you don't like my shit. I don't like lots of other people's shit, you know. And it's not. It's for fun. It's maybe to make you think, but it's not. It's not life and death. It's something I get to do. I'm privileged. And I try to never lose sight of that. You know, it's how I make a living through my art and creative endeavors. But I'll be alright. I don't really have any bills. You know, I'm not going to starve. So, I hope you enjoy my stuff. That's why I make it. And I make it because it makes me not crazy. Makes me not go crazy and helps me deal with my life. But I hope you can get something out of it too. You know, I always advocate for journaling. Even if you're not artistically inclined, when I first started out, I wrote angsty teenage crap for years before I started developing seriously. And maybe you don't have the time to pour into it like I did, but it's very rewarding to get your ideas down on paper. And if you can just get a 50-cent composition notebook from Walmart, or if you want, get a custom leather-bound journal and just listen to music, get inspired, go outside, pick a nice place in your city, and make it be your place to go meditate and commune with nature and be with your thoughts and have a quiet little moment. Write about it. It is rewarding. I promise you, you'll enjoy it. Anyway, my last video, we got up to page 20. This is a continuation of that. Psilocybin. Charred hands against glass shard sandpaper, perpetually ripping $100 bills into the microphone, sniping blurred orange butterflies as they explode and multiply, a vicious cycle hallucination. The song skips every other word, repeat and skip. The stereo flies across the room, piercing drywall, deep breaths and regret, lying down to shut my eyes, reliving the back alley breakfast scene of when I was under the steel boot of the sun, his grimacing puffy face bearing down, bolted to a halo frame. Incandescent memories flood the blood-brain barrier, intoxicating images of my rental love. A composite wraith haunts the stew of gray matter. Savagely revived, this shadow, a momentary repose, springing new life from the earth. These scorched hands, healing in the warm, saturating darkness, growing psilocybin, like slow, chain-smoking suicide. These are somewhat older poems, the beginning of this book, but starting on 22 with Uncultured, which I'm about to read, is starting getting into the poems written over COVID. Uncultured. A static screen sky takes pot shots at our sanity. Tires burn on the horizon. It's only make-believe, I know. This construct of words and images, bad noise and bile. Back and forth, the blame bounces back, inevitably to your doorstep. Master of the still stars and of the flaming door. He's been stalking me for 3 days, on the peak of that mortal hill where eternity was born, asphyxiating so as not to stir the squirrels nesting in his ghillie suit, waiting for one false step into the crosshairs to bring me to my knees. I hide, out of range of that bullet of destiny, a Cossack, embedded in a mat abandon, where bare skin and bourbon makes beasts of us all. I wrote that particular one when I was taking a workshop at Winthrop University. That was a fun time. Most of my adventures are good times, but that was like special. I only really did a year of college. I didn't really do like a normal program. I was non-degree seeking because I just wanted to like take workshops because I didn't want to pay $100,000 for a liberal arts degree. I didn't want to teach. I wanted to make money writing and do what I'm doing now. And that's what I did. You know, I moved out to Iowa City for kind of a brief stint with my roommate and best friend, Robert McFarland. He was my roommate in Charleston, and he was in Iowa City getting a nursing degree. And we were roommates with this guy, Jake Montgomery, who was a poetry professor at the Iowa's Writers' Workshop and a Jewish communist. And he once asked me and Robert, if he did nothing with his life, is he fighting capitalism? And I was like, dear God, man, come on. Jesus Christ, like, that just like slaps in the face of everything I'm about. Awful jackass is what that is. The Ford. We sold the tractor to keep the house after Dad shot himself in the Ford. If we were Catholic, I hear they wouldn't bury him with the rest. But things work out. Mr. Neely from the drugstore cuts our field for hay now. The bales are still waiting to be picked up. I took a picture of the house from the dirt road and put it in some flowers for Memorial Day. Dad always wanted a farm, like that place in Vietnam he spoke of when he was drunk, the one he never left when he was sober. Last week I wrecked his old truck. Now it sits in the field with the hay. For some reason, I don't mind the walk into town. This is called Soft Days. This was featured in the 2023 North Carolina Bards Anthology. And I have a video of that reading on my website, stevenleake.com. I don't really like this kind of shameless self-promotion. It's how I eat, quite literally. Soft days. High definition spring showers. The metronome rapping on my tin roof. Baby shag fields. A glistening bosky green oracle, like the old colored man with the sunlight for a smile. A sobering retreat. Soft days in aged rocking chairs. That favorite stained coffee mug held close with two hands. Days go by. Impressionist filter. Milky, soft beaten cotton nestling my face. The breasts of my envisioned Venus, as shredded down rains on us from the ceiling. Slowly close my eyes, fall back onto the mattress, to the rhythm of my grandmother stirring chicken soup with a wooden spoon. Progress. One ant in a long line. The colony awaits, trekking lockstep with those before it. The days haul on their backs. Over a limb, around a rock, the line always holds. Granulated hills of fresh earth pop up persistently. This next one's called Garden, and I don't really often go into detail about the meanings of each stuff. I think when you're publicly releasing something, you're letting other people interpret your words and take from it what they want. You know, It may mean one thing to me, but I'm not going to be sitting there in your living room, wherever you're reading my stuff, and explaining to you what it means. That's not like how it should work. You should get whatever you want out of it, and whatever you read and whatever you experience is what you get out of it. Whatever connections you make, that's what it's for. Garden. That God did not manifest for her a better world, I hold a guilt-ridden grudge, a vaguely violent act of desecration against some ethereal, pure creation. After a blitzkrieg of bad noise, a world-weary forehead rests on my shoulder. I am redeemed. An old-fashioned love song. We've escaped, thrown off expectation and fantasy, eloped to the eternal now. All that exists is the sheets against our skin and the immediacy of your shallow breath, surrendering to the senses in a liberation of self merged. Shotgun Supernova. This is an older one. Wrapped up in silk sheets, I soak in a boiling pot pink. Steam fogs up my linens. I trace see-through bullseyes on the lenses and fill my room with Gothic candles and lilies in search of lost time. With epiphytic clarity of the addict himself, I come to and find my yellow crayon sunrise over once happy fortified peaks, with rays that ignite my soul, that spark in the center of the sun, lust. I blow apart supernovas with my antique shotgun and suspend the stardust in a glass paperweight, burning slow under control. I've got $1 million secret, but don't you tell nobody else. Looking through holes to heaven, girls' locker room peep show that rips our lives away, but blah 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 because it fell apart. Truth. This poem was featured in the 2022 North Carolina Bards Anthology, and I have a video of me reading it in Raleigh and in Charlotte on my website. Truth. Truth is non-linear. It is only the inadequacies of language preventing two competing realities from existing simultaneously. Have I not existed in one timeless moment, a precognitive black in the cosmic soup of souls, waiting for my time under the sun to inhale? The first beat to the flat line in time-lapse lucidity, rolling and morphing in a breathing, living memory. I had fun writing that. And I've, in my more recent work, like to get philosophical and metaphysical shit. Explore spirituality and the nature of reality. That's been my latest kick as far as themes go. And I found it to be endlessly rewarding, and also like a kind of a well of material, because the nature of reality can cover any manner of experience. And I've been reading the Gnostic Gospels and researching stuff on Gnostic Christianity. And you don't have to necessarily believe in these things just because you are learning about them. There's a quote: the hallmark of intelligence is being able to entertain an idea without believing it or accepting it as true. And I have a hell of a good time and lots of fun researching and studying other belief systems. I grew up Presbyterian, PCUSA. It's kind of a more liberal, mainstream denomination, Christian Protestant denomination. Most presidents have been Presbyterian, and I've always felt a spiritual presence in my life, and had a real strong connection to my church where I grew up, and I've always felt I belonged there, and had a intellectual and spiritual home there. But when I first got sick and diagnosed with bipolar, I drifted a bit, spiritually and intellectually, and I experimented with all kinds of beliefs and ideas, which I think is necessary. You shouldn't go your whole life only thinking one thing without challenging your beliefs and seeing if they hold up objectively. I came to the conclusion after years of studying other things that the way I grew up was not all that bad in a solid belief system. You don't have to agree with everything. At least I don't think you should have to. So much I think spirituality, religion, is more than anything else a personal relationship, a personal experience, and you don't have to explain or justify your beliefs to anybody else. It's between you and your higher power, and whatever you need to believe, and however God manifests Himself to you is what you need to pursue. I don't proselytize unless someone specifically asks me about it, which does happen, and I'm really glad to talk to people about how God has damn near directly intervened on my behalf and saved my ass countless times, and how mimicking the life of Jesus has led me to infinite wells of strength and inspiration, and made my life so much better and enriched because of it. And I just operate from such a better position mentally and emotionally, much more healthier and stable and mature, with a Christian background and understanding and worldview. But I don't really ascribe to any rigid dogma other than a loose Protestantism. I think that the Catholics fucked everything up by creating a religion that was all about control and power, and it is what it is. We owe so much to the Romans, but we can improve upon their shit and get down to brass tacks instead of bullshit power trips. Because I think with technology and capitalism, we don't need such strict religious dogma. We can be free to explore a personal relationship, and that's what I'm all about. Back to it. Nude with boots. The moon rises above palmetto trees, stoned in paradise, chasing transcendence, chain smoking all night on the porch, waiting for the light to strike. While she sleeps, another world wakens. Angels whisper to me by moonlight, filtered between housing blocks. I spread my arms in ecstasy and walk around the parking lot in ragged pajamas. That's about me and Allison in Myrtle Beach. Born on the 4th of July. The fear seeps into oppressive nights, each choice, each step, closer to an eternal recurrence. merging into singular longing. A perfect Christ consciousness outside of time waits until you can hold no more joy. We were kissed by God in the garden as galaxies flare and stars burn out, as seasons blur, until light is laughter, a reunion across aging empires, finding each other anew in each life. A chain of primal memory pulls us into the wet and dirty immediacy of breath, back into the ether, we climax to applause. I am a young soul in perpetual becoming. Reading this gives me so much joy, to be honest with you. Like, it's all about fun to me, and it's intensely satisfying to, like, develop your own process for writing, and then being able to do it repeatedly over long periods of time, and build up a collection, to do the work, to format it and put it together and edit it, and get your friends to give you the cover art and collaborate and start a company to publish it and do all the work, blah 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 blah. It's just so much fun, and I think more people should do it. With the internet and AI, for just a $15 subscription to AI and design service, you can design and create your own book covers, and do your own formatting. And you can publish your own stuff for fairly cheap. The only real thing is you have to like learn a bit about social media and marketing, but you can sell a respectable amount of books doing it all yourself. Most people don't have the time, so they pay other people to do it, but I'm blessed with time. So I publish other people's stuff because I have time to like do the work of putting a book together, publishing it, and then promoting it online on social media. It's not that terribly expensive to do. When Engulfed in Flames. That's based off a David Sedaris book. And the cover is Van Gogh's skeleton smoking cigarette. I forget the title. David Sedaris is unique in that he somehow managed to like capitalize on this identity of like gay cosmopolitan intellectual that I kind of love. I'm not really usually into that aesthetic because I see it's just everywhere. But he does it in a way that is genuine and entertaining. I felt like being on the business end of like intellectual snobbery. It doesn't feel good. And like when I was in Iowa, he kind of hated my guts just because I was like southern and moderate and not like a flaming fucking commie. And like that place was really just like a social justice warrior factory. And I would not waste money to turn my kid into a Marxist. I was there to learn skills to make money and like sell books, not to play coffee shop revolutionary. What the fuck? Like, who wants to pay $100,000 to be like? It's just ridiculous. And I hate that our institutions are so subverted right now. When engulfed in flames, I am beside you in a glimmer of amber, falling, stretching into the past, intertwined in a mix of memory and music. Flashes of you peek into bolero as your hair falls. Blue eyes blink and roll. I melt into the earth with exact efficiency and bloom into an afterglow of champagne and travel. Tell me which one of these are your favorites in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Unfinished. I've been dreaming of cartoon money bags and fleeing mushroom clouds, waking to find bland indifference in fluorescent light. Before I go into the next one, I want to talk about my moleskin. Used by Hemingway, Van Gogh, Picasso, all kinds of artists and writers over the years. It's a good quality product. And I have my Skillcraft pen right in here. It fits in my back pocket. And I use my phone a lot to take notes, but I also have this, also, because there's nothing like the tactile feel of leather and paper and having that weight in your back pocket. My dad also put me on to Blackwing pencils. My family loves quality, writing stuff, pens, pencils. My dad's a photographer, and he loves his equipment. And my family makes furniture by hand. It's kind of famous for it. It's all about quality, and there's a philosophy that goes behind it I won't bore you with, but I love quality made stuff. If you know a good American company that I can promote on my podcast or on here, shoot me a text, shoot me an email, or hit me up on my website, stevenleake.com. I would love to talk about good businesses and good products. I have been most faithfully published by my friend Chris Butler. For his day job, he mentors autistic kids. I've got a shit ton of autistic traits myself, so I appreciate what he does. He's an all-around good guy, good human being. He's the editor for a literary magazine, The Beatnik Cowboy, thebeatnikcowboy.com. They publish me regularly. It's my literary home. Check them out. Buy a subscription to their magazine. They have a physical hard copy that you get in the mail for $25. It's worth it. They have good shit. He's a good editor. I started out writing by being in a band. I was a drummer and a bass player starting out, and I flirted with guitar a little bit, but I was a better drummer than anything else. And I had a band called Johnny Slacker in high school, in junior and senior year of high school. We won our battle of the bands at our high school both years, and our bassist and singer, Albert Strawn, was a good songwriter and a good singer. And it was my introduction to songwriting. But he went to Atlanta on a whim, got a bug up his ass, and did shrooms at a concert. It was never the same. It kind of drifted off into a Sid Barrett kind of a deal. And so he left us, me and my guitarist, Jonathan Blackwell. Jonathan was a wizard on guitar, and me on drums. We had an amazing chemistry that I wish he had time to play with my band today. because we would be fucking off the charts if I could have him as a guitarist again. But he's got kids and whatnot. And I remember being 18, 19 and telling him, let's go for it, man. Let's go be rock stars. And we could have easily done that and made a living out of it. But he wanted to have kids. Not something I want to do, but it's necessary for the species, of course. So I support people who choose that. Anyway, it was left to me and Jonathan to write lyrics and write more songs. We both, and although neither of us were very good at songwriting to start off with, it kind of got me into the world of poetry. And I started off in 2005 on allpoetry.com, publishing angsty teenage bullshit. But I've been posting my poetry and workshopping it on All Poetry for 20 years, and it's been the secret of my success, to be honest. I've developed my voice, my identity, my artistic identity through that website. And I'm talking to the owner about promoting them on my podcast for goodies and a free lifetime membership or whatever. So I'd do it for free any day because it was that helpful. It's a safe place if you're just starting out to like experiment, and you don't have to use your real name and shit, or you don't need a credit card. You can have a free account. But you can like explore other people's stuff, write your own, get feedback. They have a cool new feature where you can write a poem and post it, and you can get AI feedback, which is, you don't always get a human response, from naturally, but you can get you always be able to get feedback for your work at allpoetry.com, which is clutch, especially if you're starting out and developing your own craft. So check them out if you're interested. I think everybody should try to explore creative outlets. It'll keep you sane in this crazy world. Bare feet on an oriental rug, exuberant fields, a phosphorescent joy, rolls towards the setting sun. The moments stretch, overflowing with power, into a living stage. Instinct and order surrender to a playful spirit, teasing life into a frenzy, until peaked into a conduit for heavenly ears, spilling over into spontaneous dance, flirting with the edge of reason. A crescendo sustained, an electric euphoria builds between our eyes. A holy peak reaches for your essence, focusing the crown of creation into each salty lick. You take me back to a cocoon in which we emerge together, tempered by the dizzy heights of naked confession. That one is more about Amanda, my Amanda from Charleston. When I met Amanda, Isabella, she was drinking a lot in bars by herself at night. And I met her randomly. I randomly sat down beside her in a bar at the upper deck, which is no longer there in Charleston. And we struck up a conversation around Hemingway, because her family had a house in Sun Valley, Idaho, where Hemingway lived, and it was where he died, in Ketchum, Idaho. So Hemingway got me in with the love of my life and my muse. So I'm grateful to that. paper planes, foreign spires, and guava jelly. I have only now begun to breathe. A precipice passed with careless soul. The highway blossoms into sepia slideshows of our restless summer, a bubbling lottery pushing always up to the sun. A bed of flowers. The poison won't stay down. It comes out in the anguished gibberish of talking heads. To escape in midnight reveries, searching endless night for a cosmic pause, to live square and paid, channeling rock stars in satori moments, the living promise to posterity, to lift the mystery. Utopia awaits on alien moons, an alternate universe where woman never bit the apple. I show up after the work is done, only to gaze in wonder at our clever disease, in luxury and comfort. Still, the prison of consciousness tethers me to time and place. The same old lovers roll their eyes and sigh each time I rattle off a get-rich-quick scheme after a manic session of intimacy. Sharing a cigarette in bed, I chisel my essence in soft moments, soaked in the cloak of night in utter surrender. I need to stamp this copy. My sister, always say this, but it's true. She knows me well. She got me a custom personal library stamp. She got me two. One is, here it is. One's Monarch Literary for my company books, and then one is my personal Steven Leake personal library stamp. And I've got maybe a half dozen copies of Light Through the Pines that I've used personally in editing, and I signed and stamped, and I'm going to do that now. And I'm going to sell on eBay to fundraise for my music to get a guitar. Why not? I'm on disability and have been since the age of 21. That's what kind of has afforded me the opportunity to pursue a creative life. And although it's like barely enough to physically survive, maybe it was license more than anything else to chill, read and study, and develop a superfluous craft that served no real purpose other than my pleasure. It was just what I needed, and maybe it can be of use to other people. This is Light Through the Pines, and I'm going to stamp it. And I'm selling this on eBay. I've got about 5 or 6 of them, personal copies. And if you like my stuff, it would be a cool collectible, and you'd be helping me get a guitar and some equipment for my music stuff. I love inexpensive customizable gifts. It's so fun and cool, and I love stamping my books with that, and I could just go to town. Thank you, Leslie. She's my favorite human being for a reason. I am sure there are people who know me very well who hate my fucking guts because they know me well. Something about familiarity breeding contempt. And you can hate my guts for no reason. You're allowed that. But Leslie knows me intimately, very well, and doesn't hate me, which I appreciate. She is coming to York, to the home place today, with Cam and the new baby Daphne. And I'm so excited to see them. Me and my mom and dad went down to Charleston to see Daphne for the first time. And I played Daphne a little bit of guitar. And she smiled at me and cooed. And it was like the most heartwarming shit I've ever felt. And like, made my week. Seeing that baby smile. There's something about new life. It makes everything seem not as shitty. And maybe it's the hope for the future. But making the world a little bit better for her, Daphne, my niece, and her generation is the whole reason I do everything I do. I have a company called American Justice Enterprises Limited. AmericanJusticeEnterprises.com. It's a public benefit corporation owned by my holding company, Monarch Holdings International. It was created because a former employee of Wells Fargo reached out to me in confidence with evidence of wrongdoing and systematic foreclosure unnecessarily and illegally on veterans with VA home loans through Wells Fargo. And I felt compelled to help this guy. And we've become fast friends. He will go unnamed. He will remain anonymous for his own safety, as people have been killed over this. I don't know if Wells Fargo is going around throwing people out of 14th story windows. I don't know if they're hiring fucking assassins or some shit. But crazy shit is happening to people that speak up about this. And I am in a unique position because of my contacts at West Point and shit like that, and just friends I know in the military that have been supportive in this fight as we fight to get justice for veterans. I'm in a unique position. I have a platform to speak out, and I'm not really concerned. But, you know, me and my people are location sharing our phones with some pretty powerful allies, and I'm not going to tolerate harassment or obstruction by anybody. Our veterans come home in a vulnerable situation. We cannot allow big businesses and banks to go after them in a predatory manner because they're an easy, quick money scheme. You know, they deserve better than that. These people sacrifice their minds and bodies in like chunks of time from their life, and are forever changed by their service. The absolute least we can do as a society is take care of them when they come home and not let them be bullied by big money. As far as it's in my power to do anything about it, I'm not going to let that shit happen. And I'm using my podcasts, my videos, my website, and my other avenues, along with gathering these veterans' stories and contact information at AmericanJusticeEnterprises.com to put together a class action lawsuit and partnering with legal partners to help us. I have a GoFundMe. Please consider donating to cover our legal expenses as we take this fight forward. I need to pay lawyers and paralegals to organize and advertise to get people's attention who have been affected by this, to reach out to our website. And I have to pay for website hosting, stuff like that, just basic stuff. Nothing too crazy or expensive, but I'm not like Moneybags, and I'm on disability. I just have balls and heart, and I need your money to fight this. And if you fund me and equip me, I'll go all the way. I'm a fighter, man, and I'm down to take this all the way until we get money in the hands of veterans who have been affected that can in some way restore them financially. These veterans who have been affected have committed suicide. They've been financially ruined. Their credit scores have been fucked up ever since, and it's haunted them for years, and we're going to do something about it. And if you can go to my GoFundMe, and I will link that to this video. Try to help us out, or share. If you can't throw in a buck or two, just share our clips and videos and links, and help us in our fight to restore veterans. A few more. Glory. I pick up some champagne at the gas station coming home. A plastic rose between my teeth in the doorway. These bubbles go right to my head as we trail off into strings of tender moments, contemptuous of responsibility. Tell me something I don't know about you. We make playlists on our phones and sing on the porch till dawn, harmonizing. Something radiates after a night of stargazing lust. The memory foam mattress swallows our mutual gifts. I am guilty. I have lied. But in your presence, ego disintegrates into ephemeral fireworks. Still, you would do better to skip town on a whim and drive to the ocean so you can feel a freedom beyond the flesh. Son of a gun. Appreciating a firm handshake, I hold my liquor. Though once the money is made, I become possessed with joy until every night merges into memories of celebrating the moon and the wisdom of woman, floating above so much need. One breath. God is good. I can't explain it. After decades of dismissing hunger pangs, for one perfect moment, all the world was light. We count our dollars as the fallout rains. In Search of Lost Time. I love this title and use it in a couple different ways. It's a book by Marcel Proust. It was heavily featured in the movie Little Miss Sunshine, which I love. Stoned in the grocery store, romping down the aisle. I'll never go hungry again. The multicolored shelves tower above, endless rows of choice. Abundance serenades me with family-friendly music by the dollar DVDs as my stomach recoils when a squad car pulls into the parking lot. Plush safe. I want to be so good the government kills me. Where my phone dings all day, healthy and beloved. The stars see the error of their ways and dazzle me to sleep. Each night, where echoes of your laughter birth new worlds. This poem is called Calabash, North Carolina. Calabash was where I lived for about 5 years after Myrtle Beach. It's in the Myrtle Beach area, just above the state line in North Carolina. And it was like the nicest place I've ever lived outside of Charleston. I lived there with my mother, and we had like a proper house in a regular neighborhood, as opposed to like where I grew up in like the country, in like a house my father and grandfather and uncle built themselves. And we lived there for about 5 years and had like plenty of room, and like it was nice, a nice quiet neighborhood right off the intercoastal waterway. But my mom wanted to like refinance something and got the house appraised, and a overzealous real estate agent kind of strong-armed her into selling it and sold it out from under us. And I would sue the fuck out of that woman if I knew her name and had the resources. She basically ran my mother out of her nice house that she got for her retirement. And good people have to be vigilant about shit like that. And there's a lot of like boomer women, older boomer women, who can be taken advantage of by pseudo-professionals. And it's more than just the mechanic taking advantage of a woman that doesn't know cars. It's kind of a industry that runs off of deception. I don't know why we have to deal with so much graft and fucking deception and corruption in this country. It seems like morals don't mean shit. Even in like businesses that are highly regulated and have ethics boards and shit. Which brings us to the medical field. And if you research the history of who benefits from pharmaceutical research, pharmaceutical drugs, it comes from petroleum-based substances and chemicals. And the Rockefellers developed the medical training protocols that are still in use today, and it revolves around pharmaceuticals based off petroleum chemicals, petrochemicals, because the Rockefellers owned oil, and that's kind of how all this shit operates. Rich billionaires get into a position where they can bake into society systems of belief that reinforce their business. And that's what everything is about in this country. That's how all of our laws come about. That's how our culture is made. It's reinforcing business. And they will come up with whatever bullshit fuckery they need to concoct to sell and make money and stay rich. If that means mass murder, they will do it. American history is one giant fight between consumer protection and big business. And it's forever going this back and forth between the people trying to defend themselves from corrupt business practices and greedy corporations, And whenever we get some good litigation and good laws on the books, they come up with new loopholes and new ways to fuck us over. I'm a friend of the unions. I dated and was very much loved a woman who's a political strategist for the teachers union in North Carolina. But they need to get off their communism so damn much. It's not serving the workers. Just because it is a belief system centered around workers' rights does not mean it has merit. It's self-defeating to teach people socialism and communism, and they're better served supporting genuine capitalism. And I really would like to see the unions embrace a concept of work that prizes individual decisions, individual decision making, individual negotiation in tandem with collective bargaining. The two do not have to be mutually exclusive. The unions have done a lot of good, but they're susceptible to being co-opted by power. And you've always had those Pinkerton detective types that will come in and sabotage your shit. And if you're a union, you're a static sitting fucking target for corporations to fuck you over. Whereas individuals, a decentralized set of principles that individuals can follow in negotiating with companies is much more helpful than a sluggish and rigid organization. So we can have both. Calabash, North Carolina. Iced tea on the veranda, replenishing the tiny beads of perspiration lost, dripping from my brow. A refreshing reprieve from the muggy heat. Some mayonnaise and tomato on white. The creak of a rocking chair. A hint of lemon bursts and lingers, and fleeting epiphanies. Watching the shrimp boats pass, and hitting golf balls into the marsh. A snap and plop over the din of cicadas. Sleep. Curling up on the mattress, I hide between the sheets and silence my phone, resting after a week of high vibration, whining numbers and money, slipping between two worlds in absolute darkness, a birthday suit, closing my eyes, yielding to the waves of heavy delight. The air conditioning hums, a lullaby of base comfort. I melt into the bed, where the needs of the body bend, overruling my tepid thought. Crash. General Mattis getting married in Vegas is the best of us. I clap and sing and yell, shaking and flailing to psychedelic blues, catching up with old lovers, sitting Indian style on an unmade bed, to relive our greatest hits, with your pictures scattered, working together on the line, and day drinking in the city. I lived lifetimes in a summer Rumspringa fever dream. That one's about my adventures in Charleston with Amanda Isabella. She passed away in May of 2023 from alcoholism. We will miss her terribly. I will miss her terribly. The indulgence of dreams. In this place, your slow, steady breath brings me. I think of God, where the sun we never had, in some better world, frolics beside us, hand in hand along a riverbank, holding tight to a red balloon. the indulgence of dreams, let go in a moment, drifting forever up. It's a good stopping point as we're about at an hour. Oh, that was really fun. And I always love it when I get to make a video reading my stuff. I enjoy the hell out of it. So thank you for your support. Even if you're just watching, like and subscribe, as they say in these videos. Your support, just liking and sharing, helps me get coffee and not have such a austere existence. It helps keep me sane with little treats like fancy coffee in Rock Hill. And maybe even a guitar for my band. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your support. I'm Steven Leake. We're gonna win.